Ladies and gentlemen, it's teaser talk time.
Would y'all look at that sad-ass corn? But that's a badass tractor.
I feel like no topic is off limits for teaser talk.
I just picture them with an iPad. And, I mean, that's it. Let's get real. We were the cool kids who were too cool for the other kids to realize we were cool.
You goddamn better believe it.
Hand check, you guys.
I may have been conceived to that song, Hollie.
Make some noise for your co-hosts, Hey Donna, hey, and Hollie Nicole.
Hope you're having the raddest day ever. Hey Donna, hey, and Hollie Nicole here with another kick-ass podcast episode.
Yes, welcome back, guys. And today's episode is pretty bittersweet as we are covering last Vans Warped Tour, which as of yesterday, I believe, it is over, done.
Yes, and we were super excited to get the privilege to attend this last tour, not only as fans, but this year we actually got in with press passes.
Yes, that's a major shout out to Kevin Lyman for coming through. He's an awesome guy with an amazing heart.
We actually got to experience the full Warped Tour experience, from checking out rad vendors to almost dying in the pit. More to come from that of later.
And you won't believe what band created the hardest pit we've ever been in. So stay tuned for that. It's going to blow your mind. It's unreal.
Yes. For now, let's talk about the experience from the beginning. So first and foremost, it was hotter than the gates of hell. Great time of summer where there's a bunch of concrete for the sun to radiate off of.
Yeah, that's an understatement. It was hotter than the gates of hell. And somehow we still ended up having a pretty good time. I'm not sure it was as hot as the year before, but definitely still toasty. So as you heard, we got to have press passes, which was super kick-ass, not having to sneak past security looking like, you know, groupies, lot lizards back in the buses trying to get in our interviews like last year. So we were communicating with bands and trying to connect with everyone, all while trying to catch our favorites on stage. So it got a little chaotic.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy speaking with them, and major props to those guys, because they literally wake up every morning in a different city, maybe even a different state, not knowing when they're actually going to be taking stage.
Yeah, so like I said, it was crazy. We didn't actually get to connect with everyone we wanted to. Unearth being one. Timing was kind of off for both of us, but we are in touch with them, so fingers crossed that we can connect with them in the future for an interview.
So what I loved most about Warped Tour was really the whole mix of not just pop punk, which I know that, Donna, that's you and I is one of our favorite type of music,
Yeah.
but also other performing that you might not catch, that you would have catch that day not knowing them and not having had the opportunity in any other kind of show.
Yeah, so one of those bands that we caught up with was definitely a different genre than the typical pop punk band. We got to catch up with Chris from Harm's Way, and here is what he had to say about having to get the opportunity to be in the final leg of the tour.
What's up, everyone? We are here with Chris from Harm's Way here at Vans Warped Tour. Just wanted to hang out with him, and we're super grateful that he had the opportunity to chat with us. So what's up, Chris?
Not much, just trying to stay dry. It's wet and hot and humid, and just trying to stay cool and dry.
Well, see, that rain, though, was a good, cooled us down a little bit. So we're thankful for the rain. I'll take it.
For sure. And I'm sure this is not your first rodeo here in Dallas, but the worst thing is it's like it gets hot and then it rains and then it just gets humid. So It's crazy stuff. So this is the last leg of Vans Warped Tour. How is it the experience as an artist for you?
So far it's been really cool. It's definitely like a new experience for us, doing like a festival run like this, playing Warped Tour, doing like the whole cross country thing. Playing in front of a lot of new faces, a lot of new people, and so far it's been really cool, very enjoyable. minus obviously like some inclement weather here and there. So far so good.
Yeah, that's cool. So what's cool about Warped Tour, I think, is you can be introduced to a lot of new fans. People may come to see one artist and be introduced to some bands they've not seen before. Do you feel like that was something that was important to you guys coming into the band's Warped Tour?
Yeah, I think it's always obviously to want to grow as a band and as musicians, is always kind of like in the foresight, and so it's definitely something that appealed to us by doing this tour, and especially like being a metal, hardcore, industrial, punk band, whatever you want to call us. We don't necessarily like play alongside maybe like pop punk bands or pop bands in general. So exposing people to maybe the subculture of music or I should say subcultures of music that we come from was also like an appealing thing to us, and maybe introducing something something new to people is something that we feel like we could bring to the table on like a festival like this or a run like this.
Which is cool because we've heard about you guys for quite some time, but of course as things become more digitalized and people get introduced to music on the radio or on streaming, they don't necessarily come across bands like we have with you guys watching live music. So I think that's pretty cool too, is that with Warped Tour, like you said, there's a bunch of different mix in there, and people have the opportunity to kind of experience someone new or someone different. So who's a band that you kind of really connected with and that was super cool playing alongside with here?
We're sharing a bus with Every Time I Die, and they're a band we've toured with before, but obviously doing a more conventional tour is far different than being on a bus with somebody, spending 24/7 with them. So they're a band that we've definitely become very close with on this run thus far. Just hanging out, grilling, just like shooting the shit and just kind of getting through each day. Sorry.
No,
okay.
you're good. You're good. We encourage it.
Okay, so it's definitely a band that we've gotten a lot closer with over the last few weeks. It's a band we respect and look up to, especially from like a work ethic perspective. And it's awesome hanging with those guys, and it's great when we can catch their set because they're super high energy and just bring a lot to the table.
Awesome. So with that being said, is that something that you guys try to do, is support each other, watch each other's sets? Because we've seen a few artists kind of on the sidelines watching other bands. Do you get a chance to kind of go and check out the other sets?
Yeah, it's hard. Every day is like pretty randomized as far as like set times and whatnot. So in addition to doing press stuff or signings or what have you, so like some days are easier than others. I try to catch bands that I like when I can, but it can be pretty difficult. And then especially in like more intensive days when heat is crazy and there's rain and all that, it's like it's really hard to like really get out there and be in like the general population and like kind of watching bands, just because you just really need shelter. Like they're long days and it takes a lot out of you, so some days are definitely easier than others as far as catching bands and whatnot. But as far as like the whole support, there's a lot of support on our stage. We're on a really cool stage. There's a lot of really cool bands, and so far there's been a lot of like camaraderie and whatnot. It's been cool.
For sure. And what I love most about like the whole festival type thing is like, especially with bands Warped Tour, it's almost like a city is built in a day.
Yeah, it's honestly remarkable. We get on the bus, drive overnight, show up in the next city, and everything is constructed and ready to go. And it's the same rig that's going from city to city. There's not like a crew 1, crew 2 sort of thing. So it's honestly like really remarkable to watch this construction every day, as it happens. And a big shout out to the people who are doing that, our stage managers, our stage hands, all that, because it obviously makes it doable for us.
And from a fan's perspective, we're out there in the crowds and it's just so well like organized, right? Like we get here and there's the whole day layout of all these different bands, so it's almost like it's like a ringleader somewhere kind of constructing everything.
For sure.
So the Warped Tour is continuing. Are you guys going to be on the remainder of the dates? Can people catch you?
We'll be on the tour till Milwaukee. I think there's like 10 days or 10 shows after that, but we're going to drop off in Milwaukee, which is on the 23rd of July. So we miss like the far southern leg of the tour. We're not going to the south, which may be a blessing in disguise. But yeah, we're not doing the whole thing. We have some other stuff coming up with like Europe and whatnot. So we'll just be on for the next couple of weeks, and then we'll be dipping out.
Very cool. Other than your Europe tour, what else you guys got going on?
We got a hometown show with Godflesh coming up at the end of August, and then again, like I said, we're going to Europe, and then we have a couple support tours lined up for the fall, which will be in North America. I can't delve into those yet, just for like announcement purposes, but we'll be on the road constantly from here to early 2019, and then 2019 will definitely be some more international stuff on the radar with kind of Japan and Australia and whatnot.
Very cool. Yeah, cool. So we really appreciate your time. Thanks for meeting with us, letting us get to know you a little bit. We're really enjoying the tour so far. Glad to hear that, you know, the bands are enjoying it as well. The support you guys have, I think it's awesome. You know, with this being the last year, I think it's really important that everybody kind of make the most of it and get everything they can out of it. And it's good to see that, yes, things are going well with it. Yeah, it's just a good environment. Do you have any last words for fans?
You know, just much appreciation, immense gratitude for the continued support. You know, we'll be hitting it hard over the next year or so, supporting our new record, Posthuman, and you know, it's just like I said, you know, we appreciate the continued support. You know, without obviously our fan base, none of this is possible. So,
awesome. Well, thanks
respect
again.
and gratitude.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we got to meet a lot of awesome people that day, from, you know, different bands to even just fans that were there supporting their favorite bands. It was amazing to get to go behind the scenes and see all of, you know, what was going on behind the stage. We even got to walk by our boy Burt McCracken.
And those of you guys listening, you guys would be super proud of us. We did not leave that day with a restraining order.
Yes, the temptation was there for sure, but we restrained, and we weren't crazy fangirls.
You know, another super cool experience we got to be there at Bands Warped Tour was going backstage during the 303 show. Now, those guys seem to be the type that we would definitely want to party with.
Yeah, I loved everything about them. That's a band that growing up, listening to their music, I always thought it was fun. But to see them on stage, they just have this incredible energy. And I'll say that the crowd seemed super chill until the pit. But, you know, we'll get into that later.
Yes, we didn't see any fights. It was really a first for me. Only some tad bit of heat exhaustion, of course. That's never fun. But it was awesome to see that they definitely had a lot of crew and staff there helping the people out who were struggling.
Yeah, one thing really cool about the tour this year is that they had hydration stations throughout. And, you know, they really encouraged people to bring in snacks and containers for water. You saw Kevin tweet a lot about the heat and just being prepared to be out there and, you know, enjoy yourself, but stay safe. So it was really good that the fans were encouraged to, you know, have some safe fun out in the heat.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like they've always done a great job with that, with having the fans in mind and creating the best experience possible.
Yeah, they do a great job of being behind great causes too. So there are many great nonprofits, from Truth, Compassion Over Killing, Can You Hear Me Now, Feed Our Children Now, and To Write Love on Her Arms.
We actually got to catch up and chat with Elizabeth to write Love on Her Arm.
Yeah, we were super excited to have To Write Love on Her Arms on Teaser Talk. So mental health is something that is near and dear to our hearts, and we are so grateful for all that they do for the community.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and share that interview now.
So we are here with Elizabeth at the To Write Love on Her Arms tent at the band's Warped Tour. You want to just introduce yourself, kind of tell a little bit about yourself, how you got introduced to the organization?
Sure, yeah. So again, my name is Elizabeth, and I'm a music and event coordinator at To Write Love on Her Arms. I was initially introduced to To Write Love on Her Arms through Haley Williams. She was wearing a t-shirt on stage at Warped Tour maybe 11 years ago. And then about 2 years ago, I decided to intern for them down in Florida. And right after that, they hired me on full time.
That's awesome. So for those who aren't aware of To Write Love in Our Arms, can you kind of give a little brief history of what the nonprofit is about?
Yeah, so To Write Love in Our Arms is a mental health nonprofit, and we exist to kind of bridge the gap for people struggling with things like addiction, depression, self-injury, and suicide. We're not the counselors, we're not the professionals, but we have resources that we've connected with in all 50 states. So if you or someone you know is struggling, we can connect you to those resources.
That's great. So you see To Write Love in Our Arms a lot in the music scene. So is there a reason for that? Why is music such a big influence within your organization?
Yeah, well, 12 years ago, kind of what brought us to light was John Foreman from Switchfoot wearing a t-shirt on stage, and I think it kind of snowballed from there. Like we said, Haley Williams from Paramore. People from the Used have worn our shirts on stage, and I think it's a community of people who is really, affected by the message that we have, whether it's personally or a friend or a family. They look at what we do and say, that's me, that's my mom, that's my best friend's story, so they can really connect with it.
I think it's it's extremely important to be aware of mental illness, be aware of the signs, be aware of, not just only for yourself, but other people, right? And it's unfortunately something that not a lot of people like to talk about because it's almost shunned in mainstream media. So that's what I love about the rock industry and just the rock genre is like a lot of people, like it's not shameful, like a lot of musicians sing about it in their songs. Right. A lot of fans, they wear the clothing that embraces it.
Right. Yeah, I think it's an amazing community to be a part of. Obviously, we wanted to grow further, than just the rock community. And I think over the years, I've seen people come around to the idea of learning about mental illness and being educated and not putting it, in the back seat and kind of taking note of these people who are struggling and saying, you know what, like I'm here to listen and I want to learn. And I think that's the first step is to be open to learning about mental illness and mental health, because once you're past that point, you'll be able to help others and help yourself even.
Yeah. So speaking of kind of teaching people about it, making it an open conversation, I think it's really interesting how you see a lot of things like the Semicolon Project and different ways to make people aware within social media and things like that. What are some of the things that you guys see as a real impactful way to get your message out there and make people learn about your organization and what you represent?
Yeah, so obviously social media is a huge outlet for us, and I think our blog has helped so many people kind of come around to the idea of, like I said, learning more, because you can find tons of different stories on our blog, whether you're a mom with a son struggling or you lost a sibling. We have something that everyone can connect to and everyone can begin to kind of become part of this family in the mental health world.
That's awesome. So for those out there who are wanting to learn more and educate themselves, how can they connect with you guys?
Yeah, so the easiest way is to follow us on social media. We're Twaloha on most things. And if you have more questions, you can email us at info@twaloha.com. We answer emails every single day from people around the world. Whether that's just more information, how to get involved, or looking for more resources, we're there.
So obviously, sadly, this is the last Warped Tour.
Yeah.
You guys have been involved with the tour for a long time. So what other events can people come to kind of find you guys, learn more about you?
So we've actually become a big part of the Bass Nectar community. The EDM scene and world is becoming kind of a new friend to us, and we're excited to be partners with them. And we're also beginning to dive into the yoga world. We've done a couple Wanderlust events, which have been super fun. It's terribly sad that Warped is ending, and being on it for 12 years, every year we've been an organization. It's really helped us grow and learn as an organization, so it's really sad to see it come to an end, but we'll always be around and you'll always be able to find us somewhere.
That's awesome. So if you guys are listening to this and know somebody that is struggling, or if you yourself are struggling and want to know more, definitely check them out and find out the help that you need to get.
Yeah, absolutely. And Elizabeth, thank you so much for taking time to talk.
No problem. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
So that was really awesome. When we first got the email from To Write Love on Her Arms, or I think they actually go by their acronym, TWULA, is that what it is, Hollie? Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were really excited when we got that interview. It actually brought tears to my eyes. It was something that, hits close to home for me. So it was a really great experience and just learning more about them. And, I really hope that if there are people out there that are struggling with mental illness, to use some of the resources that they have available, or, help reach out to other people who could benefit from what this awesome organization has to offer.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember whenever you had sent me that email when they were requesting an interview, and I literally got goosebumps. I mean, I'm with you. It's something near and dear to my heart as well, and I'm sure many listeners right now can relate. But definitely check them out. They have some rad merch too, so even if you aren't able to volunteer or do anything of that sense, definitely check out their merch. I mean, they have some cool T-shirts, things like that support their nonprofit. Going back to the music, we wanted to make sure we ended the evening catching Simple Plan. And I know that's really funny, but let's face it, you guys, we might have been closet fans when we were like 14.
Yeah, closet fans is the word. They were one of those bands that we didn't want to really admit that we liked, but, we always sang their songs when they were on the radio, of course. And let me just tell you how stinking cute they were. So it's really like they haven't aged a bit. I remember standing at the stage and we knew we were about to see Simple Plan. It's been a long time since I was a teenager. It's been since I've actually seen any of the members of Simple Plan. So I'm kind of looking at the people walking behind stage like, oh, that's one of them. That's him. That's the lead singer. And, all these people had a little age on them. I thought maybe, 15 years later, that's what they look like. But then the actual guys came on stage and they just really haven't aged a bit.
Here is where the pit story comes in.
So we go in thinking about how harmless a Simple Plan pit is going to be. I mean, come on, it's Simple Plan.
Boy, were we so wrong.
Okay, so the first red flag really should have been that, Simple Plan is more of that little pop punk emo band. Like, the girls like Simple Plan. Not saying there aren't some guys out there that like Simple Plan, and that's great. But Simple Plan fans, for the most part, are adolescent teenage girls. There were a few boys in the crowd, but to be honest, Hollie and I were bigger than most of them.
And, I mean, we definitely aren't like bodybuilders, so we're not really that big. So, yeah, I figured no men. That means, that's a plus because that means no angry drunks fighting or crazy people trying to mosh next to you. So I was kind of relaxed and chill, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, but we were pretty wrong. So what happened actually is the drummer of Simple Plan came up and, just kind of talked about it being the last Warped Tour and said that one of his dreams that he wanted to make sure he fulfilled before the tour ended was that he's always wanted to crowd surf. So he jumped into the crowd, which of course, when one of the band members jumps into the crowd, that really gets people hype. But, he shouted out and they said, we want the world's most crowd surfers. We want to break the record for the most crowd surfers. And people of all different kinds, little people, big people, drunk people, sober, scared people, big men, just came piling on top of us.
Yeah, it was all funny games whenever they started. Like, oh, this is so awesome, until they would not stop you guys. So body after body, they just kept following on us. And we, of course, were the bigger people around, so we had to catch these.
Yeah, so most of the time, as we said, we're the little girls. The situations we've been in where we've been in mosh pits are definitely for a lot more hardcore bands. And, we always have those people around us who are going to be our protectors and continue to move the bodies over us. And I think at first, Hollie and I tried to fall into that role. And we quickly found out that if we weren't the strong arms moving the people, they weren't going to move and they were going to be on us. So, that was crazy. Seriously, who would have thought that Simple Plan would be the hardest pit we have ever experienced? I mean, there were even girls who were begging the bouncers to pull them over the gate so they could get out because they were just over it.
Yes, I heard a couple of them. I mean, they were super young. They're in their teens. And they were like, this is my first mosh pit. This is crazy. And I'm just like laughing, but at the same time, I'm keep trying to push people over me. And I remember, like, there's the one and only guy who I was actually bigger than had fell on my ankle. And by the end of the night, when I got home, I had to prop it up on ice like an old lady. I took ibuprofen. And that's whenever I was thinking, man, damn, maybe we are a little too old for 12 plus hours in the heat catching bodies in the pit.
Yeah, I'll definitely miss Warped Tour. But as you said, I felt old out there. I mean, 12 hours in the heat catching bodies in a pit. I mean, yeah, I mean, we're not built for that anymore. Where's that stamina I thought I had?
So looking back, obviously Warped Tour has helped so many fans and artists gain momentum. I mean, you connect the fans with their favorites, and then also they meet lifelong friends. Donna, what's your favorite Warped Tour memory that you have?
So I've got to say, the Simple Plan mosh pit's really high up there just because, I mean, it's a fun story. It's a memory we'll always have together. I may be a little triggered. When I came home, I was in Kroger, and they actually started playing a Simple Plan song, and I almost ducked for cover under a shelf because I'm a little triggered by that now. I was just waiting for somebody to fall on my head in Kroger. What about you, Holly? What's your favorite Warped Tour experience?
Man, mine's got to be 2017. I mean, this is going to sound really fangirlish, but just getting to hang out with the guys that we had idolized when we were 15, 16 years old, DKY, and getting to meet Hatebreed, just really getting connected with all those bands that we had that past and passion for. And then, of course, going to the PBRQ. That was definitely hands down the best.
Yeah, that's high up on my list, too. Actually getting to have a water gun fight with Jess Margera. I still have the water gun, and I will treasure it forever. So, hopefully, though, next year would be the 25th anniversary of Warped Tour. So, I'm really hoping to see something cool happen for the big anniversary of the tour. And, I hate to say that I'm anticipating it because I don't want to get my hopes up. But I feel like it's going to happen. I just do. So we want to hear what your favorite Warped Tour memories are. Make sure to connect with us at Teaser Talk on Instagram and Facebook. And we'll be looking for those comments. And maybe we'll share some on air. And until next time, keep rocking.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Teaser Talk.
Tune in next time to catch some more shenanigans.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Teaser Talk. Also, follow us on Twitter at talk_2_teaser.
Until next time, keep rocking.